make sure that you have a good understanding. So that's the first point. Many were concerned that a discussion of natural rights would lead to social upheaval, which is what I just explained. Number two, I'm going to get some new markers. Number two, Jeremy Bentham, utilitarianist, right? Jeremy Bentham challenges the notion of natural rights, saying the following. This is a famous quote, actually. Quote, right is a child of law. Only positive rights, right? We talked about the distinction between natural rights and positive rights. Positive rights having proceeded from, right, the social contract. Technical, but you should remember the image in your head, right? I hope I'm not going too fast. Right is a child of law. Only positive rights. From real laws come real rights, but from imaginary laws, from the laws of nature, come imaginary rights. Natural rights is simply nonsense. Natural and imperceptible rights, rhetorical nonsense, nonsense upon stilts, right? That idea of nonsense upon stilts is sort of the catchphrase. Basically, all that's being said at this point is we have positive rights, but not natural rights. You get rights once you have accepted the social contract, the particular conventions of the geographical location that is ruled by some sovereign. That's when you get rights. You don't just get rights as such. There are even African conceptions of rights which differ entirely from this, where, you know, some people get rights and some people don't, which leads back to this idea of all of this is being buttressed on the very big if there is this thing rights. And then lastly, 3, John Stuart Mills writes the following: it is proper to state that I forego any advantage which could be derived to my argument from the idea of abstract rights as a thing independent of utility, right? Utility meaning positive rights. Right? Utility meaning, he doesn't say that, but that's what he means, right? Utility meaning positive rights. I regard utility as the ultimate appeal on an ethical question, but it must be utility in the largest sense, grounded on the permanent interests of man as a progressive being. So what we recognize in this first section 1 of the analysis, is that the discussion of historical development of human rights is contingent on a number of things. I'm going to try, I should have the images in my head, so I should keep it. The first is the notion of choice, right? So we believe that we have freedom. The next is the idea of liberty, of autonomy. And the last is the idea of equality. Those 3 concepts help to serve for the foundation for what are known as natural rights. Insofar as we have these natural rights, we're saying that these rights exist really independent to conventions. These rights exist independent to conventions. These rights exist, and also they come as a product out of our transition from, cognitively speaking, metaphorically speaking, a pre-social state into a state of governance. The problem, however, that Bentham and Mill and others challenge is that when we talk about these natural rights, we do so as though, conceptually, there isn't a state. There isn't a governance. There haven't been codified laws. All of these things exist. So we can't just assume that they don't. We recognize immediately then that the idea that these natural rights are generalizable, as we saw, across populations becomes difficult, right? There's going to be variations within these rights, quote unquote, because they're going to be positive rights. And as Mill says, it's only within the context of the utility of the rights within a social setting that we can truly have a discourse on rights. Last other thing before I finish. Anytime we talk about the idea of rights, we also evoke the idea of duties. The problem specifically being, that if there is a sense in which the population has, the masses have, a right to revolt when the rulers, the governance, has failed to fulfill its obligation, we need to recognize how much of that actual right rests on a perception, right? And this is where it gets tricky. This is what's going on in the 21st century. Revolt after revolt after revolt after revolt after revolt. We're living in the revolt of the masses now. So my lecture series and my YouTube channel couldn't be more timely. With that, that concludes the first section of my discussion of human rights. I will continue with section 2. Thanks for watching my videos. I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell. Have a good day.